Okay, so I'm currently standing here on a slightly cold, thankfully not windy, Rochdale railway station at the very end of the platform. And we're currently looking east, so trains going in that direction will go towards Leeds and Bradford and Halifax and so on. But the reason I'm here is that when I was filming my previous video about the Rochdale Pioneers location and looking at old maps, I found something interesting, which is right now, this is a junction. The train goes on in that direction to Leeds, but the tram comes up there, crosses over, and then goes that way on what used to be a line to Oldham, and then into Manchester. And that's the Rochdale branch going into Manchester. But if you look at the old maps, you can see here, so I'm standing about there, that is visible. If we then move, you'll see a huge Martian yard, lots of stuff over there somewhere, which now does not exist. But if we keep on going, you'll see another line going off there, a line that simply does not exist. But there is this suspicious kind of park here. So that's the Rochdale to Bacup, if that's pronounced correctly, Rochdale to Bacup line, which I have a map there. And well, that was closed down at some point, I think in the 60s, classic beaching thing. Well, what I find interesting about that, I had no idea it existed because I'd not noticed any trace of it in all the 10 or so years I've been living around here. So I'm now going to go walk about and drive about and see what traces I can find of it. I'm going to follow its route from the map and see what evidence there is still on the ground. Okay, so I'm currently parked up in a slightly grotty industrial estate, which I've just spent about 10 minutes driving around, and I've literally seen no evidence of any previous railway being here at all whatsoever. Look at the map. I'm currently here by this building, which should be just at the end of the whole Martian Yards complex. It is vast, these Martian Yards. You realise just how much freight was transported on the railways and how it was hyperlocal freight, not freight from like depot from port to warehouse. It was hyperlocal freight for deliveries to, I guess shops in Rochdale, where the final leg would be horse-drawn carts. I mean, I'm 0.7 miles away as the crow flies, according to my maps app on my phone, from Rochdale station, where I filmed the first part of the video from. That's 1.1 miles if I were to drive. And all I've done is driven from one end of the Martian Yard that starts the station pretty much to the other. But yeah, there is nothing here. So I'm now going to go to this point up here. We keep on going. There, which is a road I've driven along many times and never noticed anything of the strange there, but I need to go between Chestnut Avenue and Oswald Street. I just remember a Nazi and trees that provide an autumn game, and let's see if we can find something there, because I haven't found anything here. Okay, so as far as I can tell, that's looking back towards Rochdale. The line came down there somewhere and carried on down there. There are various footpath signs, so I'm going to have a explore in both directions. Okay, well, I mean, this might be the course for the abandoned railway. Probably it's around here somewhere, but I mean, I don't know, who knows. I'm going to carry on down here a bit and then I'll try the other direction. I think the most we can probably say is it was somewhere here, and that's why this area isn't built up. The rest is full of early 20th century housing and a stream down there. So I think that's all really you can say. It was somewhere here. Okay, right, so where I am now, I think, is about here on this embankment. So I've walked up this path here, across a little bridge over the Haybrook, and then across a bigger bridge over the River Roch, which you can see down there. And I've climbed up these steps here to about there. And so I'm now on the embankment. So this really, if we look around, you can see it is a raised area. And so obviously it would have carried on in some sort of bridge over the top of Entwistle Road. And the bridge is gone. There is no sign of anything, unless you actually knew. I don't think, you might come up here and think, oh, this looks a bit like an embankment, but you might not. Other than that, there's no, I mean, this is it. This is the embankment, but there's no evidence other than that. So yeah, that's the embankment up there. We're off the embankment now. Back in more modern houses. Yeah, so there must have been a bridge coming across here, off the end of the embankment there, over there, and then carrying on to go over the road. But there's no, I can't see any trace of it.
Quick interjection from future Johnny here, who's editing the video. If you look at the map, it does actually say viaduct. So I guess it was one arch over the River Roch, one arch over the Haybrook, and then one arch over Entwistle Road. So, and now back to the video.
We're now looking back in the other direction, heading away from Rochdale. Let's see if we can find anything there. Okay, so I've just walked down a bit from the road there, and where that basketball court is, it might not be obvious on this camera, but that is a sort of rise. And it's a rise where I'd have expected there to be an embankment the other side of the bridge that I believe is there. So I think that here is what's left of the embankment. Again, there's not much of a rise. It doesn't scream former railway embankments, but I think that's what it is. Okay, so apologies for the noise. We are currently here. We've walked up sort of along here, and that was the embankment. You can see it would have carried on all the way to here, but it kind of tapered out about there. And so we are now standing just here. So where that bus stop is, where that building is there, essentially that's where it would have crossed the road and gone that way. So, I mean, as you can see, there is literally no trace. If you didn't know that that slightly humped park was the former railway embankment, you wouldn't know. I've driven through here hundreds of times. Not once I ever dreamed there was once a railway bridge coming over here.
Okay, so I'm now parked up somewhere there. I was down about there. So I've driven round a bit and stuff. And the next thing I want to look for is this Walderworth station, because it seems that not only did Rochdale lose a railway line, it lost a station as well. I'm also interested in this Railway Inn public house, which I don't recall seeing ever driving past, but maybe I didn't. I wasn't looking for it. So I'm going to try and see if I can find anything here. I don't think I can get round here, but I might be able to get round the back there on Rugby Road. But we will see. At the moment, it just looks like there's an awful lot of car hire, car repair places. Anyway, we will see.
Okay, so I'm filming at the start of James Street. And if you can see just down there, a little way down where the bus stop is, that's where the railway used to come across. And I was filming before just the other side of that, looking this way. So down there, James Street used to run further and go to Walderworth Station. And this building here used to be the Railway Inn. And if you look, it is now the Railway Grill. So if you ever see this, thought, why the heck is that called the Railway Grill? It's because there used to be a railway crossing over on a bridge just down there.
and a railway station just down there. Now it does say there's a footpath and a cycle path, so I'm curious about that, but I'm not sure I can really go up there at all, so I might have to go down Rugby Road and try and go around the back, but we will see. Okay, well I've walked about 50 feet and I mean there is no way forward at all. It's just a car hire place, there's nothing I can see here. And the cycle path, apparently there's a sign just over there saying to go that way, which it doesn't look like a cycle path to me, it's just like a network of streets that's out of the way of a person coming through. So yeah, no, there is nothing here other than me getting arrested for trespass. Okay, I mean when you see cycle path in this context, you think, oh, maybe that's a cycle path along a disused railway, but in this case, no, it is just an invitation to zigzag along back streets. Although maybe, I mean, I guess at some point maybe we do hit the disused railway, but for now it's, well, it does exist as a route. Why you would come up there and then along here and up there when you could just come up here, I don't know. Okay, so I'm standing about here in Rugby Road, and I think I might have found the only evidence whatsoever that Wardworth Station was once here, which is if you look at this thing going up here, which would be, I guess, like a road going up to a goods area. If you look at where I am now, and we have a look, you can see there those two brick pillars, which look a little bit older and more tattered than the building there. And I think maybe they are original features, but there's nothing on them to say there is. Other than that, there's nothing. Other than that, someone did unto this station what the Romans did to Carthage, I think, basically. So, yeah. But yeah, hey, brick pillars that may be old. Who knows? Okay, so I'm standing about here on Taylor Street, where it would have been a bridge with the railway going underneath and into a cut-in. And if we look, well, yeah, that could be a bridge. Maybe this bit here could be a bridge. And if we go back to the map, we can see there's supposed to be a footpath along there, which is that footpath there. So that, I guess, is a filled-in cut-in. But I'm going to take the footpath to see if there is any evidence of anything left down there other than it being open space. Well, there's some cobbles there. Not sure if they're some sort of old remnant, but there's really no sign at this point, except maybe over there. Is that something that could have been a bridge? Let's check it out. Okay, I think that does look awfully like this must be the railway, because it's a gap between sets of buildings and it's a sort of avenue of trees, and this isn't a stately home. But it does feel like, well, I have to check the map, maybe that was a level crossing rather than a bridge. But yeah, I think this is it. This at least has suggestions of a railway. Curious why that looks like, is that a locked gate or just a gate that can be locked? Oh, it's just a gate that can be locked. That looks a bit unfriendly otherwise.
Right, yeah, this is a public footpath. Right, you know what, let's see where we are. Right, so we started off here and we walked all the way up here. Across the common, you'll notice, should have been in a cut-in. The cut-in appears to have just been completely filled in all the way. And that thing indeed should have been a bridge. It wasn't level crossing, it was a bridge. Should have been cut-in. And so what's really interesting is that all along here, we should have been in a cut-in. And we are not in a cut-in. I'll show you shortly. So if we come across here, we're now about here, according to my phone. And if we look at what we have, it's not really a cut-in. And yet, on the map, that shows as a cut-in. So I'm genuinely a bit curious as to, seems a lot of faff to fill in a cut-in. Why would you fill in a cut-in? Don't understand that. But anyway, I think at this point, I've got to the initial point of this video. I've picked up the point where the railway, you can clearly see the route of the railway and follow it. I suspect this path has gone for quite a long time. If I get lots of likes and views, maybe I'll do a part 2 to this video and see where else it goes. But for the moment, I think I'm going to say this was Rochdale's Lost Railway.